Join us today. We are going to be diving into a lot of cool stuff. So thanks for joining us. We are going to be talking about building business credit in 2020. We're going to talk about doing this post-COVID-19. A lot of things have changed, right, with COVID. So by the end of this training, you're going to know a lot of things about building business credit, the step-by-step process, and get a look at exactly what business credit can do for your company. A lot of things we're going to dive into today. We're going to talk about exactly how to build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your personal social, and how to do this with all the changes that we saw come about with COVID-19. So by the end of this training, you're going to know the exact formula post-COVID to be able to build corporate credit without a personal guarantee or credit check. We're going to talk about how to beat the banks and actually get into their own system they use to qualify you for funding and beat that system so you actually have the best chance of getting approved for the most money at the best terms for your business. We're talking about anybody can build business credit. I get this question a lot. How do I build business credit as a startup? How do I build business credit as a nonprofit? We're going to talk about how to do anybody can do it. Even if you're just getting your business off the ground, we're going to be diving in and talking about exactly how you can succeed in this space as well. How to get high limit corporate credit cards. SBA says that the limits on these cards are 10 to 100 times higher than consumer credit. I'm going to show you the formula to get those, just like big publicly owned and privately owned companies do. And I'm going to teach you how to get it without a credit check, without a personal guarantee, even how to get like 150,000 in credit lines you could use to build business credit that you're able to get even as a startup as well. So thanks for everybody for coming in. Roberta says hello from YouTube. Thanks for joining us. We are streaming right now on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope, and we've got a live webinar going on. So if I don't get to everybody's questions quickly, I will get to them at some point in the end. I see some people, so feel free to type questions in if you're on the Zoom webinar into the chat. And then if you have any questions on your social channel, you can type them in as well. And if you are on one of our assets, one of our credit suite assets like YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, we'll be able to answer those questions for you. So look, if you're looking to grow your money, get money to grow your business, you're in the right place. If you've been denied for financing your credit, we're going to be decoding why a lot of that happens as well. You're in the right place. If you want the fastest and easiest way to get money, we're going to talk about that as well. And if you want your business to fund itself without you being needed as a personal guarantor with all this money that you're getting, we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk about the steps to get high limit revolving business credit cards without the personal guarantee and credit check. And if you want the blueprint to get away from personal guarantees, there's only one way to do this, guys. So many people come to me and want money without a guarantee. There's only one way to really be able to qualify to get money without a personal guarantee. And that happens because you establish a corporate credit profile where your business can stand on its own. And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into today. And if you're trying to get the most money at the best terms, if you want loans, you want credit lines, you want to get the longest term and the lowest interest rate, that's exactly what we're going to be diving into and talking about today. So let me see here. I've got some chat. So let me see if I can open the chat. All right, there we go. I got the questions. Now I've got chat as well. So I will get to everybody, but a lot of people are going to have questions here. We'll probably have reasonably 1,500, 2,000 people on here today. So just be patient. We're going to go about an hour, and I will try to get to everybody's questions before we wrap up today. So for those who don't know me, I'm Ty Crandall. I'm actually the author of Business Credit Decoded, the best-selling book on business credit. And we've helped today over like 43,000 people through this process. So I'm not teaching you anything today from a conceptual view. I'm teaching you stuff that's actually working right now. As a matter of fact, I have a couple sources that I'd love to introduce to you today, but I can't because we haven't vetted them. And that's the way that we are. Before we introduce anything to you, we actually know that it works. So we've tested this with tens of thousands of people so you can know that it actually does what it's supposed to do. So now we've surpassed 43,000 people that we've helped through this process. Most entrepreneurial company of 2019 by Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. 5000, 2019, and 2020, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, hundreds of reviews online, testimonials, and you can find me on podcast, radio, TV. I only say this to you just because, look, there's a lot of people that maybe have done this for themselves and they're out there trying to teach you what they did. I'm not trying to teach you how this worked with one company. I'm trying to teach you what works for tens of thousands of companies so you'll know it's actually the really good stuff that works. So some bonuses. If you are staying to the end of this training, you'll be able to get a playback of this 30 days of free credit monitoring with Equifax, Experian, and Dun & Bradstreet. That's worth $249 if you go to them direct. And a no-cost consultation with our team where we'll actually do a fundability report with you. We'll tell you all the funding you can qualify for, and we'll even go over your business credit report with you and give you tips and tactics to improve. So you're going to get all of that if you're hanging out to the end. So let's talk about the problem here. Look, we all know it. Getting money for a business is hard. The vast majority of businesses fail because of lack of access to capital. SBA says that's one of the two main reasons that businesses fail. The other one's because of mistakes business owners make. And when we have access to money, we can afford to make a lot more mistakes. Staggering 90% of business owners agree that the availability of getting loans is a problem. More than half of all business owners worry about being able to survive financially even a week's time. And this is all before COVID. We haven't even seen these stats come out post-COVID. So we're in a world now where it's even heightened awareness of our ability to be able to get money. But the problem is a lot of people struggle to get money. I call this the cash access problem. It's not that it's not available. It's that a lot of people just don't know where to go to get it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So there's three things that have made Credit Suite unique, that we have found a formula to be able to get the money that you need when you need it. And it really comes down to these steps. It comes down to setting up your business the right way as lenders and credit issuers want. There's this whole secret formula, this fundability formula they have. And when you decode that, you set your business up to be fundable and to be able to get approved. The next is you get business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your personal social. This gives your business the ability to stand on its own, and it makes you a lot more credible to lenders and credit issuers. And the other part of this formula is to be able to access all capital in one place. There's a lot of loans, there's a lot of credit lines, there's grants, there's all this money that's out there. But if you don't know what you're looking for, then you're not going to find it. So being able to access everything you need in one place, that combination of these three, fundability, being able to build business credit, and being able to get financing, we found is really the absolute keys to success when it comes to building business credit. So if you've ever applied for a credit card before and been denied, then you kind of get how this works. You either get an immediate notice that you'll hear by mail in 7 to 10 days, or you get an immediate approval. And this is an automated approval. We all understand that it happens so fast that computers are doing it, not humans. And this is because lenders and credit issuers have this secret set of criteria they kind of plug into these computers. And then these computers use it to determine if you should qualify or not. And how fundable your business is ultimately going to determine if you get those automated approvals or you don't. And that's my goal for us today, is that I want you to be able to go in and get business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social, but I need it to happen automatically. I don't want you to get those manual reviews and that message that you'll hear by mail. We want it to happen right away, immediately. Okay. And that only happens if you improve your fundability. Anytime you run into issues with getting loans and credit cards, it's more than likely because you don't meet these basic criteria that lenders and credit issuers have. So we found that there's over 125 total fundability factors. So when we're working with clients to help them get money, this is our wheel. This is what we do. This is how we look at it when we're trying to evaluate, does somebody meet the funding criteria that a lender and credit issuer has? And I'm zooming in here so you can see just a little bit of the wheel, from what's on your LexisNexis credit report, your check systems credit report. Credit reports you've probably never even seen before, right? Be used by lenders. The length of your credit history, your open accounts, the age of late payments, and so on and so on. All these things calculate into that fundability that ultimately determines if you're going to get approved or denied, and oftentimes how much you get approved for. So you want to set up your business where it's fundable. I always like to start here because I can't have a conversation about getting you the maximum amount of money unless we talk about the kind of stuff that lenders and credit issuers really want to see. So the type of entity you have matters. Corporation is better. You don't want to have a sole proprietorship. You want to either be a corporation or even an LLC or even a partnership, but you want to stay away, for example, from sole proprietorships. You need to have the right business phone number. It should be toll free. It should be listed with 411. And you also should have a fax number. And we're not seeing anybody denied in 2020 because of not having a fax number. Nobody that we've seen. Not to say it's not happening, but we used to see that. We don't see it as much. But having a toll-free number and not using a mobile phone, not using a home phone number, and having that phone number listed with 411 are very essential to getting approved for funding and credit. I mentioned having phone number listed in certain directories. 411 is definitely one of those. The type of business address you use, we always want to stick with a real physical business address or a virtual address. You can get virtual addresses from Regis. You can get virtual addresses from Alliance, from Da Vinci. And that's basically where you're renting an address in a big high-rise building in Tampa, Florida, but you don't have a physical address there. And it's really nice because if you change addresses or anything, you can always come back and rely on that one address. So it's very powerful. But you want to stay away always from PO boxes and UPS addresses. Those will get you immediately denied. And you really need to consider or think twice before you use a home address. A lot of sources won't approve you if you're using a home address. Like in the business credit world, Walmart still won't approve you for a corporate credit card without a personal guarantee if you're using a home address. And now still in 2020, we're seeing more and more of Dun & Bradstreet putting Google Street Views on your credit report, and if you don't want a picture of your house on your credit report and you work from home, then this is why you want to consider a solution like a virtual address. Having licensing is very important. There are sources I'll go through with you today that'll give you an immediate $2,500 credit line just because your business has some kind of license. The congruency of your records is the most important, making sure that all your information is congruent and the same online. Probably the biggest mistake I see business owners make: their name, their address, their phone number isn't the same on the application as Secretary of State as everywhere else they find online. So that becomes really important. The type of references you have, like trade references, bank references, whether you have a bank account, setting up your website, professional website, having an email being a professional URL, email as well, having your EIN, your DUNS number, your BIN number. These things all tie into fundability. And really, business credit does too. I kind of try to separate the three sometimes and say there's fundability, there's business credit building, there's financing. But really, business credit building and fundability is one and the same, because your business credit is your credibility for your business. It's what lenders and credit issuers are looking at to determine if you're fundable. So business credit's definitely part of this process, but I kind of find when I explain it, I kind of separate it out and like to talk about business credit separately, because there's so many other things involved in fundability that I think fundability warrants its own discussion, with business credit being separate. So even if you are fundable, most loan applications are denied because of potential fraud concerns, not because you don't qualify. This is probably one of the most important statements you're going to learn today, is that a lot of people apply for loans, they apply for credit cards, they get denied, they think it's because their income's not high enough, the credit's not high enough. I'm not saying those aren't factors in denial, they are. But what I am telling you is that statistically in 2020, we're seeing nearly 70% of loan applications are denied, not because you don't qualify, but because the lender believes the application to be fraudulent. They think it's fraud. And the reason they think it's fraud is because, you're putting information on an application that doesn't match your website. It doesn't match your Facebook. It doesn't match your Secretary of State. They're doing these checks to make sure your information is congruent everywhere. And when it's not, they think it's fraud. To keep in mind, think of how much fraud we're exposed to every day. Every day I'm solicited. One of our employees or team members is solicited to go get gift cards on my behalf, and somebody emails them making it look like it comes from me. Imagine being a bank. They're exposed to massive amounts of fraud. So most applications are denied because you just don't meet this fundability requirements. They oftentimes, even if you do look like you're fundable, think it's fraud. So they fight that because they look at places on your application, they match it against places like on your LexisNexis credit report, or your Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax credit report, the Small Business Financial Exchange. Maybe you know some of these, maybe you don't. If you follow my trainings, you're going to be familiar with a lot of this, where a lot of other people won't. But what's happening is they're comparing your application information to a lot of these other sources. And when they find information to be incongruent and inconsistent, it triggers alerts in their systems, and it may be potential fraud. Then it gets pushed to somebody for a manual review. Then there's all kinds of problems with that, because realistically, the person that's handling a manual review of a potential fraud case isn't going to sign on the dotted line, because their job's on the line if they say it's not fraud and it really is. So again, you get in trouble because your stuff is listed in all these systems, even including check systems, and it's not congruent. It creates issues. And this is why we do this with our clients. All these credit reports we actually go through with our clients. LexisNexis check systems, as part of our system, our clients get access to those credit reports, and we help them know how to get them and how to clean them up, because it's so important. If you don't have all the stuff to be congruent and clean up all these credit reports, it's much harder to get the financing and credit you need. So LexisNexis, a lot of people aren't familiar with LexisNexis. Here's a short look at what's on your LexisNexis credit report. Every home you've ever owned, the values, the sale prices, the building materials of your home, the HOA, the how many bedrooms, bathrooms, roofing, AC units, deeds, mortgages, title companies, interest rates, loan amounts, terms, loan types for every mortgage you've ever had in your life, every phone number and email you've ever had in your life, every license, firearm, boating, mortgage, pilot, violations on those licenses, traffic tickets, felonies, misdemeanors, sex offender records, aliases, marriage and divorce records, every vehicle owned that you ever owned in your life, including the VIN numbers, every insurance policy you've ever had, every business you've ever been associated with, family info, including children, loans, leases, aircraft boating records, every public record, all of your education, military records, and on and on and on. All of that. My LexisNexis credit report's over 300 pages deep. Okay, and a lot of us don't even know that this exists. If you ever get your LexisNexis credit report, you'll feel like I feel, intrusive. It's very intrusive. It discloses every aspect of your life. And the fact that this is what floats around and what lenders and credit issuers see, it's kind of scary. And why this is a problem, I'll give you an example with us, is that we went to get an SBA loan, and they came back with this weird approval where they demanded my house be served as collateral to be able to get the loan. Well, this is weird, because we have more than enough assets in the company to not have to pledge my house. What happened, because there were judgments on my LexisNexis credit report, I didn't know about them because they weren't on TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian, and they weren't real. They were never even my judgments. So then I had to get LexisNexis, and I had to go through this whole process to, you know how hard it is to prove a negative? You know how hard it is to prove that judgments that aren't mine are not mine? Like, how do you prove that, right? So I had to go to the credit issuers and get letters from them. I had to go to the courthouse. I had to do all these things and jump through all these hoops to finally get that stipulation removed. Another thing that happened during that loan was that they actually had said, you know, do you have any misdemeanors or anything on your record? I'm like, no, I'm like a straight shooter. I don't have anything like that. And then they came back and said, actually, you do. You have this misdemeanor from back in the day. I literally had to pull a background check on myself because I didn't even remember what it was. And it was like popping wheelies on a motorcycle back when I was like 20 something years old and in the military. And I remembered, and it was fun in the day, right? But here I am, you know, 3 decades later, and I'm now paying the price for that. And I didn't even think about that. Then I had to write a letter of why I lied to them. I didn't lie to them. I just didn't even remember what they were talking about. So all of these problems came from LexisNexis. And this is exactly why LexisNexis is now part of our process. It's why we help our clients pull LexisNexis. It's why we help them fix LexisNexis. Because what we realized is that all these lenders, credit issuers, they're all getting their information from this source. This is it. So let me give you an example. If you ever had a bankruptcy judgment, public record on your credit report you've ever had to have fixed, and you dispute it and they verify it, here's a trick. They're not verifying it with the courthouse. They're verifying it with LexisNexis. So if you ever have a derogatory item on your credit report in the public record section and you clear it up with LexisNexis first and then go to the bureaus and clear it up, your chances of getting that item deleted are significantly better. And that's all because all this data is coming from LexisNexis. So this is the kind of stuff you have to really look at to be fundable. And look, guys, I know, and a lot of people are saying hello, and I thank you all. And then a lot of people have questions. I'm going to get to your questions. But in this case, I'm going to get to the end because we have so many people tuning in here. And a lot of your questions I've seen come through, we're already going to address. So I haven't forgotten about you. Thank you. And I will say hello back to every one of you. But usually I do it on the fly. I'm going to do it at the end here just because I have so much. That way everybody can get the information. And then anybody that wants to have their questions answered, talk a little bit more, can continue to hang out. So even the slightest change in one fundability standard can change denial to approval. This is Herman Dulce, one of our clients at Credit Suite. Your one-on-one consultant call within 24 hours of signing up. They call at least 5 times a week in the first 2 weeks. And then after that, even though it's been several years, I've been with them, I'm still getting calls. My one-on-one consultant called me every other Wednesday without fail, and that's absolutely incredible. My favorite line of credit I got using Credit Suite's a $10,000 Amazon card. I used to purchase things low and sell high in different marketplaces. I also was able to get a $40,000 Amex business card. None of my accounts showed up on my personal credit report. So if I max them out, it doesn't hurt me personally. So I was able to purchase 2 properties in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's been a blessing. So the reason I pull up this case study is because Herman was one of these guys that had problems with fundability that once we corrected, he started to get these results. So if you want to get these kind of results, and I'm not saying everybody's going to, right? Everybody gets different results depending on what you apply for in your unique situation. But then the key here is you got to improve your fundability. And when you do it, that's what clicks over and starts really being the key to getting all kinds of money like Herman's doing, like a lot of our clients do, to even buy and invest into to residential real estate. So if you've got your fundability straight, the next thing we want to do is we want to build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social. So if you get a mortgage, if you get a car loan, if you get a signature loan, we all know these credit issuers are pulling your consumer credit. But when your business applies, then for a loan or a credit line or a credit card, well, your business credit is also being pulled, and it's used to determine if you get approved or denied, how much money you're going to get approved for, and the rates and terms you'll pay. By rates and terms, I mean term, how long the term is. Very important for a loan. Whether you get a 3-year loan or a 30-year loan is what makes the payments affordable, okay? And a simple example of that is that we had a merchant cash advance revenue loan that I think was financed over 3 years, and it was $75,000, and our monthly payment was $9,000. $9,000 a month to borrow $75,000. When we got an SBA loan, we got a 30-year loan term. We got $325,000, and our payment was only $4,500. So our payment was half as much, and we got an extra $250,000 in funding. That's why term matters, and term is determined ultimately based on your business credit quality. So it's extremely important that you build business credit, because it really is, lenders are pulling it and using it to determine these things. So with business credit, you can get approved regardless of consumer credit quality, because what we're doing is we're building a basic foundation for the business. We're coming in and we're building a foundation of a credit report, a score, trade lines, everything that establishes an initial credit report. Okay. And then we're using that established asset to be able to get all the rest of the credit we want. That's how it works. And I'm going to teach you how to build initial business credit here in a few minutes. So we're building initial business credit. And then what we're doing, and I'm getting some emails coming in, so I'm going to shut this thing down because those will keep coming. And so we're building this initial asset of a credit profile and score. And then we use that to qualify us for all kinds of revolving credit. That's why we don't care about consumer credit quality, because we get vendors approved with vendors first who don't care about personal credit. And then they give us the initial credit profile for our business. Then we use that credit profile to get the revolving credit that we want to get. There's no personal guarantee, which means you're not personally liable. None of us expect to fail. But COVID has shown us that something can come out of left field and decimate certain industries. I got people that own bars. I've got friends that own restaurants. I've got, a lot of friends. I was just literally spent all week with two of my very close friends that own 3 martial arts studios. Think about that. Martial arts, 6 foot rule, right? Like, they're on the front line. They're in a war zone right now because their entire industry is getting decimated because of this. So many things can happen. And the reason I teach about business credit is that I lost everything in the mortgage crisis. I was a mortgage broker. I was on the front line. I got crushed and I lost everything. And then years later, I realized that business credit existed and nobody was doing anything about it. Nobody was educating people how this worked. And that's why I got into the space, was to educate people how this works. So you all have a choice that I didn't have at the time, which is to be able to build business credit and separate this personal liability. There's no inquiries on your credit report. It's a big deal. Inquiries can cost you $25,000 to $50,000 in funding from some sources. Even 1 inquiry, 2 inquiries, 3 inquiries can hurt you. So I never use my consumer credit inquiries unless I absolutely have to. Okay, I really minimize my consumer inquiries. And when I'm applying for credit that I could easily use my business credit report to qualify for, I would never use my consumer credit. Because if you do that, the problem is that you're putting inquiries on your credit report that hurt your ability to get other kind of funding you could get without those inquiries. The credit limits are very high. SBA says they're 10 to 100 times higher. It's what we find too. Clients, if you're following the training today, you're able to get $30,000, $50,000 credit limits. And you're able to get $30,000, $50,000 credit limits typically within about 3 months or less. 3 months. But again, once we build the initial business credit profile and score and you're using the credit, then that will get you even higher credit limits. And you're getting credit quickly because the scores are based on your payment history. So all we have to do is get credit reports, pay those bills as agreed. And again, once you've done so, then that's really the key to actually having a lot of success. And I'm going to jump in here real quick. I know I said I wouldn't, but Ronald says hi. Thanks for coming in. I'm glad you guys actually help businesses sort these things out, Dane. I appreciate that too. And Dennis from Milwaukee, thank you coming in. Dane says, can you freeze LexisNexis before funding? You can't freeze LexisNexis, although you can put a freeze on your check system's credit report. But great question. And Roberta says it was fairly easy. The reps wanted some info. I think she's talking about getting an account with business credit or without a personal guarantee. So it also separates your consumer and your commercial credit. And it basically, just as I mentioned, it establishes your credibility. This is really the key to being able to look reputable and credible for lenders and credit issuers. And it's important because anybody can see your business credit reports, your prospects, your clients, your competitors, anybody that wants to can tap in and can actually see your business credit report. So it becomes very important that you control this because it really controls your reputation. Now, the biggest thing that you need to know is that you can be issued a failing business credit score even if you have no business credit. And I show this once in a while because I think it's a great testament to how business credit works. Here's somebody that has a failing score, a 28 score, only $1,000 recommendation of credit, very high risk. This is called a financial stability risk score. The score literally depicts the risk of the business going bankrupt in the next 12 months. That's what this score depicts. Okay, actually it even says right here is within the next 12 months. It actually predicts likelihood of financial stability risk, which is basically bankruptcy in the next 12 months. You can see they have no accounts. So Experian is giving them a failing score because they have no credit on the credit report. Okay, that's why it's giving them the failing score. Then when we come in and we look at even one account being added, we see somebody jump up to a 96. You can see they're low risk, and you can see they only have one account, which is a packaging account, which I'll tell you what that is probably here in just a few minutes. And then you can also see they went from that low 20 score to a very high score. So keep in mind, we see a lot of people come in that are very well-established businesses, $5, $10 million in revenue, and they get denied for credit lines and loans because their business credit's bad, and they call freaking out. And when we call their credit report, when we pull it, this is what we see. There's nothing there. Then we have to have a conversation with them about, you don't have bad business credit, you just have no business credit, and having none is what's giving you failing scores. And they're perplexed because we're not used to a world where our scores are bad when we've done nothing wrong, just because we haven't taken the time to build credit. But you have to in the commercial world because that's the way the commercial credit system works. But the good news is that as you add this one account, you can add one account paid as agreed, and it changes all that. It takes you from bad to good credit. Okay, and the other interesting thing about business credit is that the more you continue to grow it, the higher the recommendation of credit is. So if you don't think credit recommendation is important, then think about it's one of the first 3 things that lenders look at. This box is kind of like the highlights of the credit report. It tells the lender your main score with Experian, your financial stability score, your risk of going bankrupt, and how much money they recommend you should be lent. It's extremely important because it's one of the most important things that lenders look at to determine if you should get credit and how much you should get. Now we see here somebody with a better score, 96, gets $2,500. We can see here that this, and we looked at this one, remember, this person had 1 account on their credit report. I showed you that. This person's getting recommended for nearly $7,000, has 2 accounts on the credit report. This person's being recommended for nearly $16,000, and they've got 3 accounts on the credit report. Here's somebody with recommendation of nearly $66,000, 1, 2, 3, 4 accounts on the credit report. And here's like what we'd all like to have, right? $724,200 of recommended credit. You could tell very precise numbers. So their algorithms are very specific with how much they recommend somebody be lent. And we've got basically 15 accounts here on the business credit report. I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 accounts on the business credit report. So again, you know, the more accounts you're adding to a business credit report, the more credit you're going to get because the higher the recommendation of credit is. So the more accounts you get, the easier it is to get approved for even more accounts. And the more accounts that you have reporting on your business credit report, the higher the recommendation of credit. So the higher the future limits are. So I just told you, people are getting $30,000, $50,000 limits in 6 months. How's that possible? That's how it's possible. You're adding the more volume of trade lines or payment experiences we add to a credit report, the higher that recommendation of credit is. I just showed you like 7, 8 different examples of how that increases the more trades we have on a credit report. So all we have to do to get recommended for really high limits is keep getting accounts that are on our business credit report and continue using them. You need to know that because this recent high credit right here, this is not the limit. This is the amount they're using. So notice why they're being recommended for $725,000. Look at how much money they're using in some of these examples. Last month, they used $448,000 on this bank contractor line. They had $60,000 in this financial services line. So they're spending a lot of money and they've got a lot of accounts. And because of that combination of spending a lot of money and having a lot of accounts, that's what gets them this very high recommendation of credit. So if you want really high recommendations of credit, you have to get accounts. You have to use those accounts. Those are very, very, very important. And here from YouTube, Miss Williams says hello. Andre says good evening. Heaven Sent says hello. And then Scope from Doggy on Periscope. Kay Jones is coming in as well from YouTube. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Okay, so here's some approvals. I love Christine. She's one of my all-time favorite clients. And I think it's because I just followed her from the beginning. You know, she's like the epitome of why I'm here. She came in, she owned a trucking business, struggled to get the money that she needed, had consumer credit issues, tried to build her business credit, failed, tried 3 other business credit companies, failed, and then came in the door. And this is the approvals that we started to be able to get her. You can see $2,000 to $5,000 approvals initially. We jump up to $10,000 to $15,000 approvals. Then she jumps up into this $40,000, and pretty much everything else she's been getting from there is $40,000, $50,000 or higher. And this is all without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. She's got over $1 million in business credit. I don't show the stuff that she got without a personal guarantee, although there's a lot of it. And she has a lot more stuff without a personal guarantee that I just can't add here. But it just gives you an idea of the kind of approvals that she's got. You can see here, if you follow Ty Crandall's program, you'll get what you need. Holding up her credit cards, showing her actual credit reports, the recommendation of credit, her actual individual approvals, showing a lot of that right here. And this actually credit line ended up being $300,000, not even $150,000 when she thought she initially got. And here's a lot of recent approvals, so you can kind of get an idea. Now, here's what I mean. When I say recent approvals, let me explain what I mean. These are 2020. These are, approvals that all happened last year post COVID-19. Okay, a lot of these are within the last week or 2 weeks. Some of them are in, I think, the first quarter, but a lot of these are second, third, fourth quarter post COVID. Most of you have never, actually, I don't think I've shown you any of these before on anything I've ever done, but I wanted to show you realistic stuff from 2020 post-COVID of the kind of results that people are getting. So here's a $25,000 approval here. That's big. For Sam's Club, for it bumped from 8,000 to 16,000. Here is JCPenney's. Actually, you know what I'm going to do really quick? Let me look at something really quick here. Give me a second. I'm going to make an adjustment on my slides because I think that this one approval here is going to block a bunch of stuff. So give me just 1 second here. I could see if that's going to be the case, but I'm going to go ahead and do this because I think if we don't do that, then originally this is going to be an issue. So give me a second. Okay, there you go. All right. So hopefully that helps fix some of my issues here, but let me try. Okay. So here's a 16,000. There is a Sam's Club. This is an additional $500 on Amazon. Looks like a commercial account here from Sam's Club. JCPenney for 4,000. Sam's Club for 3,000. Here's 8,000 from Sam's. Jiffy Lube for 1,400. Amazon for 5,500. Here's a net 55. Amazon's very popular, guys. One of the first accounts we use for our clients to build business credit. Here's a. I don't think it's a $2 million credit. It's 20,000. Oh, it's $2,000 credit limit. $2,000 limit from JCPenney's. $10,000 here. Looks like from Sam's. $3,500 limit account here. $100,000 from Exxon. Another one looks like from Quick Trip as well. Here's a $10,000 limit from Sunbelt Rentals. Here's a Navy Federal Credit Union approval for $15,000. Here's a bunch of approvals. It looks like Navy Federal Credit Union, Universal Fleet Card. Looks like a Spark card there as well. $10,000 with Dell. Here's a bunch of approvals, guys. Summa 3,000, Uline 1,000, Network Solutions 2,000, Granger 1,000, Nav, Boost or Amsterdam $200, a Business T-shirt Club. You get it. Zorro, National Pen, Shell here for 2,000, Speedway. Again, the approval amounts tie into how much you're using the credit. So if you really want to be able to get the highest approvals, you got to get the credit and actually use it, as you're seeing a lot of people do. Another approval there for 5,000, another approval for 4,000 from Wawa, $10,000 approval with Dell. Here is an approval with Summa Office Supplies, Chase Inc. Looks like $5,000 limit. Here's a Sun Trust account here, 10.5, $2,500 here. Another one for $3,500, approval for 5,000, another approval with Crown. Approval here for 10,000. Approval here for $25,000. Another approval here, although it looks like $1,000 from Supply Works. Pennies for $5,000. You get the idea. These are all post-COVID. These are all recent approvals. I literally, if you go to our website, you could find hundreds of actual real approvals just like this, so you can see what's possible when we actually build business credit. Here's one of our clients, Kylan Trower. I believe the Business Finance Suite is the best step-by-step paint-by-number systems for securing anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000 business credit that reports in your business credit reports and helps you separate your personal credit reports. What I like most is I have access to actual coaches that will take you by the hand and walk you through the system and answer specific questions you have related to your business. It's just an amazing opportunity for small business owners. I show Kylan because I love him. He's one of my other favorite case studies. He was a gym teacher and wanted to do something different with his life, and started building his business credit, built his business, got into business credit funding. And the last time I checked, Kylan was traveling around the country with a massive sales team out there selling business credit financing as a service. So somebody that went from gym teacher to running a 7-figure plus business. So any business can qualify for business credit. Nonprofit, startup, doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter if you own the business or if you live outside the United States, as long as the business is in the United States. This works for multiple businesses. You can get approved even when you can't get a loan or a credit line. And the reason for that is that you need cash flow credit or collateral to get a loan or a credit line. You don't need any of those to get business credit. So even if you don't have cash flow because you're a startup and you have bad credit and you don't have collateral because you're just getting your business off the ground, you're still able to get this. It's a catch-all. Anybody can get it because there is no cash flow, collateral, or credit requirements. It's something anybody can get, even when you can't get other kind of funding. So how do you do this? Well, you've got to get initial business credit that reports to the business credit reporting agencies, and they have to be able to approve you, these vendors, even with no credit reported. So 97% of trade vendors don't report the credit they give you. What do I mean by trade vendor? I mean a vendor that issues you credit, trade credit to buy their own stuff, right? So if I rent a lot of heavy equipment here, then I get credit. If they give me a credit line to rent that equipment, then I get that. A lot of business owners, we get that trade credit all the time. But again, what it comes down to is, does that credit report? 97% of it doesn't report. So a lot of us think we have business credit even when we don't. And personal and non-personal guarantee credit is available when you build initial business credit. So you've got some options there. And I'm going to walk through some of those options with you. Anonymous attendee says, how many months did it take for her to acquire a $10,000, $20,000 credit limit? Christine got to us, in all fairness, when she already went through, as I mentioned, 3 other sources and tried to do it on her own. So when she came to us, she already had her vendor accounts established. I didn't show those approvals because I didn't claim them. They weren't us. She got some of those initial vendors before us. And then from there, we got her within 2 months to get $10,000 limits and higher. But again, she already had some initial vendors started. If you want to get to $10,000 limits, then it depends on how much you're spending on that. And Christine's a perfect example. Christine doesn't just get credit to get credit. She got credit and used it to build her trucking business. Last time I checked with Christine, she was buying a 50 truck operation. She went from 1 truck to buying a 50 truck based on completely on business credit. It's astonishing. But she did it because she get credit and used the credit. So you can get to $10,000 limits in about 60 to 90 days when you start to get to revolving store limits. But in order to do it, you have to really be using a lot of the credit you're getting. That's what's key. So there's a couple different ways to build initial business credit. And Miss Chinarmari says hello and says, Joshua says, what if you're experienced 660 but meet all the criteria for credit line hybrid? And I'll talk about this right now. And Celeste says hello and does it apply for nonprofit? We've already addressed that. So for this is a program, and I'll answer that question right now. So there's a way to build initial business credit that's through a program called Credit Line Hybrid. You can get up to $150,000 on credit lines with 0% rates, no doc, no tax returns, no bank statement. It works perfect in COVID, right? Because when revenues have declined, they don't care. You can take cash out of these credit lines. You can get approved as a startup. If you don't have a 680 FICO score, you can use a guarantor that does. There's no collateral requirements. There's no cash flow requirements. You usually get 5 to 8 different credit lines, many of which report to your business credit reporting agency. So you're building business credit while getting cash, and they're going to give you an approved. They're going to give you options. They're going to give you just business cards or standard cards. The difference is business cards report to the business credit reporting agencies. Standard cards report to the consumer reporting agencies. So one of the questions that I got here was from Jashawn was, what if I only have a 660 FICO score? You still might be able to qualify for Credit Line Hybrid. They typically want a 680 score higher, but you're typically not going to get this unless, or you're not going to get business reported cards until you have a 680. So if you're a 660, you might be able to get some funding here, but the funding you're going to get is going to report to the consumer reporting agencies, not the commercial reporting agencies. They will charge about a 9.99% fee, the funding source on this. They roll it in just like an SBA loan. And as I mentioned, you need to have good credit and be willing to attach a personal guarantee. But hey, I mean, it's cool. You get $150,000 in no doc credit lines and build business credit. Definitely a way to do it. Somebody just asked here, what vendors? Well, here's how vendors work. A vendor is the other way to build business credit. So there's 2 ways to build initial business credit. You have good credit. You're willing to provide a personal guarantee. You can get 50, 100, 150,000 in credit lines. Those credit lines report to the business credit reporting agencies because you have a 680 FICO or a guarantor, a family member friend has a 680 FICO. That's way 1. Way 2 is you use vendors to build business credit. And this is where we're getting credit with places like Uline, Quill, Strategic Network Solutions is the 3rd one of those. Granger is a 4th one. They will give you credit on terms like Net 30. They don't do a credit check. There's no personal guarantee. Those are all starter vendors that I mentioned, and they all report to the business credit reporting agencies. So I go to Quill. I set up an account online. I put stuff in my shopping cart. I go to checkout. I select invoice me. And when they ship the items, I just got approved for business credit. If I built my fundability right, I'm good. If I didn't build my fundability right, then they might make me place 1 or 2 orders. But that's how vendors work. You could buy stuff in their store and they report the credit that you use to the business credit reporting agencies. Okay. But again, fundability is very important for these initial approvals. Okay. So once you do that, and again, Quill, Uline, Granger, Strategic Network Solutions, some of my 5 favorite vendors, that doesn't require a personal guarantee. It doesn't require a personal credit check. If you follow that path, then that's also going to help you build business credit. Or you can go with the credit line option if you have good credit. Either one, you need to have about 5 accounts to get to the next tier. And the next tier is retail credit tier. So the next tier is if we talk about Amazon and we talk about Walmart and we talk about, trying to look here. So Amazon, Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club. If we look at Home Depot and Lowe's and Office Depot and Staples and all those are retailers, right? Nordstrom, Macy, Amazon, Walmart. I think I mentioned those. Almost every major retailer you can think of offers revolving business credit without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. Okay. And when you get to 5 accounts reporting on your business credit report, you can start to get retail credit. And what I mean by start is that I explain these as tiers. Some people don't like the term tier, and you could make up your own term. That's just the term that we've adopted many, many years, a decade plus ago. But the way that it really works is this. See, if you can look here, this is our actual system that our clients use. I just completely messed that up, that our clients use to build business credit. And you can see here that we tier it out with how many accounts they need to actually get approved. So we say you need this many trade lines to get these accounts. We say you need 9 trade lines to get these accounts. You need 3 trade lines to get these accounts. So it's all based on the number of accounts you have reporting, which is very important. You can see here, these say learn more, not apply, because this person doesn't have enough accounts to qualify for these. That's how we do it for our clients. We gray out what they can't get, and we only highlight what they can get based on how many accounts they have reporting on their business credit. So as they get more accounts on their business credit reports, more tiers of credit open up. And you can see here everything from Meyer to Advanced Auto Parts to Office Depot to Exxon, Home Depot. It's all here. And on top of all that, we then provide the underwriting guidelines, what it takes to get approved, the quick link to be able to get approved. We actually list what they sell, everything that you need to get approved with or without the personal guarantee. You can see here that it's pretty easy to get approved because we tell you, hey, to get a net 30, you need this. To get a revolving line, you need this. So we even explain exactly what you need. And it just makes it easy because our clients are only ever applying for the credit that they know they can get because we've already outlined in the system what they can get. So at 5, you could start to get retail credit, but keep in mind, like I just showed you, some won't approve you until you have 10 accounts reporting, 15 accounts reporting, but you could start to get retail credit with 5. With 8 accounts, you could start to get fleet credit. That's BP, Chevron, Sunoco, Wawa. That's basically fleet cards where you could fuel vehicles, repair vehicles, get maintenance. With 14 accounts, you can get the Visa card, MasterCard, Amex card, cash credit tiers, what I call them, not credit lines, high limit revolving credit cards, and auto financing. If you want to get loans, if you want to get credit lines, business credit is a factor in the approval, but other things are looked at. They're looking at your income there. They're looking at other things to get loans and credit lines besides auto financing. But you're able at the final tier of business credit building to get auto financing. You're able to get Visa cards, MasterCards, Amex kind of credit cards with high limits, all without a personal guarantee credit check. As I've shown you examples of, it's how many accounts you have reporting. That's really the key to success here, okay? So when it comes to post-COVID-19, underwriting relationships are very important. We found a lot of people applying for credit cards, and you could see it in all the forums. I was reading this on Reddit the other day. Everybody's getting denied. And that's because what we've realized post-COVID-19 is that it's the relationships with underwriters that's important. That's why we've thrived during this time, is because we have relationships with the underwriters. The reason we get all that information I showed you is because we have relationships with the underwriting team that gives us that information. So because of that, we're able to go in and get a lot of people approved that have struggled to get approved for whether it be personal guarantee or no personal guarantee type of credit. You want to use the credit you get. Remember, as I've shown you, using the credit's what gets you higher limits. You want to pay the bills early. Your credit scores are based only on how you pay your bills, so you want to do that early. You always want to try to get loans or credit cards that report to the business credit reporting agencies. I never get a loan. I never get a credit card without asking where they report to. And you also want to monitor your employee count, because some of those factors, like I showed you today, the financial stability score that was very low for people that had no credit established, they have a low score because the bureaus don't have their financials. That person never supplied their tax returns, and they have a low number of employees, and that can really hurt your credit scores. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, but a lot of the credit scores used by all the reporting agencies take into account the number of employees you have in lieu of financial data. And if you don't have a lot of employees, it really works against you. Okay, but it seems simple, but keep in mind, this is a credit building matrix. I have somebody's question here, but there's over 200 factors that we use to dive into business credit building. SBFE congruency, Secretary of State being active, DUNS number. You can see a glimpse at it, but you can also see here that these are a lot of the questions we get. I don't want this to look like it's an easy process. A lot of people have all kinds of questions through this process, and they get stuck about not knowing how to get approved without a personal guarantee, which sources will approve them, who still reports, who doesn't report. So I make this easy, but again, there's a reason that we have a paid service and a free service, right? When you're free service, we give you information. These are the kind of questions you have, and you get stuck. It just takes you a lot longer. And when you're working with us direct, it's just a lot easier path. So this is one of my friends, Josh. He does PR for us, and he needed business credit. I love his success story. We were on a call the other day. Every time we're on a call, he thanks me for what they've done, because they went from not doing a lot of revenue to now 7 figures in revenue. Josh says one thing that's beautiful about Credit Suite is that you start with baby steps. The first thing he did was get a couple of revolving credit lines and store credit. Then we graduated to gas cards, just as I showed you. Then we ended up getting a very nice line of credit at Amazon, and then we worked our way up to get a very, very nice SBA loan. Thanks to Credit Suite, we were able to really get our business finances in order for what looks good to potential lenders, potential creditors. We became very attractive to lenders. The best options are always available to those who have their credit game locked down. And that's what Credit Suite platform allows you to do. We've been able to make smart investments in staffing, market systems, sales systems, product development, all these things. Before Credit Suite, we really couldn't do it. I just don't have to stress as much because we have money in the bank to take advantage of opportunities. And I'm not as stressed anymore. I can keep a bank account that has plenty of cushion in there. And that's cushion, just honestly, it makes me a better dad. It makes me a better husband because I'm not stressing out. Look, I think we can all relate. When our business is doing well, we have access to money, we're just better at those roles of being a spouse and a father or mother. And it's a little bit tougher when we don't. So Josh went through our system, ended up with an SBA loan for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and has used that to blow up his business from near startup, or not startup, but near startup revenue up to 7 figures in a very short period of time. So as an entrepreneur, you obviously need money. Let's talk about that as well. We didn't talk a lot about the actual getting funding part today. But again, it really comes down to 3 different types of funding it really comes down to 3 different things. Today, I wanted to talk to you about business credit building and fundability. The third aspect is getting financing. It's getting loans and credit lines. And the problem there is that most people don't know where to go to get it. So when you're working with us directly, just so you know, we also have over 1,000 funding sources. We work with every legitimate funding program, and we're actually helping you come through and get all the funding you can qualify for because we work with all these different kind of funding programs. So let me give you an example. On Deck is the biggest privately owned or biggest publicly owned company in the business funding space, but they only offer one kind of financing, uno. So the problem is if you don't have revenue and time and business requirements that meet their standard, you'd never get approved, and you'll never go to their website and know this. But then there's other sources like Seek that will give you funding as a startup just because of your credit. So some will approve you based on credit, some will approve you based on collateral, some will approve you based on cash flow, and their websites don't tell you. So the problem entrepreneurs have, you don't know where to go to get money. What we do is pull all these sources together into one place. We give you access to a funding team that holds your hand, talks to you about all the funding you can get now, builds a blueprint to get you up to SBA loans, just like Josh. Started them with credit lines, then we moved them up to SBA in a very short period of time. That's what we do on the funding side for our clients as well. And we found that getting money is a combination of all 3, improving your fundability, building your business credit, and getting financing as well. That really is the absolute key to success. So look, if you are interested in, I have a lot of free information out there, and you can grab that free information and go through the process. It's going to take you a little bit longer, and you obviously won't get as good a results, but you're still going to succeed. But a lot of people ask, and I don't talk about it enough, about what does it look like to work with us? Well, if you are working with us directly, then when you do enroll with us, we give you 24/7 access to your own business finance suite. And I don't have time to show you everything in our business finance suite today. When I do that, that's not our website. That's my actual internet here. But this actually walks you through all aspects of building your business credit, everything from setting up your fundability, getting your LexisNexis credit reports, getting your check systems credit reports, building business credit, getting financing. We have everything available in English and or Spanish. We have business advisors that have helped tens of thousands of people that walk you through the process. We help you setting up your business name, your entity, your EIN. We help you set up your business address. We help you set up your toll-free numbers as well. We help you set up your fax 411 listings, your website, your email address, all to meet fundability requirements, to set up your compliance checklist, basically, to meet all the fundability requirements. We help you build business credit with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, and CreditSafe. We now help you do that with all 4. You get your DUNS number with D&B, your BIN number with Experian. We help you dispute and fix inaccuracies on your business credit reports. We have the largest supply of starter vendors that's anywhere. The massive selection of retail and fleet credit. Hard to find Visa card, MasterCard, auto financing. It's all in our back office. And we also have a lot of different access to kinds of financing as well. So you're able to come in and get cash flow financing. You're able to come in and be able to get financing based on being as a startup with 0% rates, asset-based lending, SBA loans. We deal with all of that, and we're able to help you. Our SBA guy got our SBA PPP loan done in 72 hours, for example. Remember when everybody was like, I can't get it done. Nobody can get it done. Right when it rolled out, we got ours done in 72 hours. So that's kind of the sources that we have when we deal with, for example, SBA. And again, when we're talking about our system, this kind of gives you an idea of the kind of credit you're able to get from Sam's Club, Canoco, Ally Financing, Dell, Ford Motor Credit, all called bank credit, Apple, all without a personal guarantee and all without a personal credit check. And there's a lot of credit that doesn't even report that we still get you. And I'll show you some of that here in a minute as well. Plus, if you are enrolling with us by Friday, I want to make sure that it makes sense. So I'm giving you a bunch of bonuses. 30-minute coaching call initially with a business advisor to answer every question you have. 90 days of credit monitoring. It's about $750 if you get it from the bureaus. D&B, Equifax, and Experian monitoring, only $24 a month after that. a 28-page business valuation report so you can see what your business is worth, a review widget, which we use, where you can see all these reviews from these different places on your website. And one of my friends, Mark Ensign, came up with a personal branding course, which I love. He was charging $2,000. I got him to give it to us for free. So if you are enrolling by Friday, you're getting all of this at absolutely no cost. I'm just rolling it in because I want to make it a no-brainer if it is something you're interested in working with us. So it's about $12,000 in total value. You're getting $7,000 in bonuses. And if you are enrolling with us through this Friday, you're getting all that with the bonuses and everything for only $29.97 or 7 payments of $597. Now, for some reason you can't afford that, we will work with you one-on-one with a payment plan to make it affordable. We'll customize a payment plan for you. We work with places that basically can finance our enrollment, and we can also help you get loans and credit lines as well. And we have a lot of programs people don't even know about that are very affordable. Like we have some without our advisor even involved that we just don't even advertise online. So don't let affordability be a factor that gets you away from getting the help that you need. Just give us a call. We'll talk to you about some of those solutions. And you get everything when you pay for your first payment. So when you pay your first payment, we give you access to everything, even though you might be financing it. That's how confident we are that you're going to succeed. And this is, I won't read the whole thing, but this is a buddy of mine, Sam, that we helped get the financing. I told you I was with him last week. He opened 3 martial arts gyms. We helped him open up second and third location. They thought it was going to take 1.5 years to open up second location, and they opened up third. And then they used our business credit to be able to get them through COVID-19 as well. And they're doing pretty well considering a lot of their competitors that went out of business. So guys, a lot of stuff that you're able to get here. We give you everything you need to succeed with business credit and financing and fundability. We're giving you a ton of bonuses. The branding course alone is almost worth what you're enrolling with, on top of everything else that you're not going to have to pay or get a steep discount on, which makes it cheaper to build business credit than it is with us, than it is to build without us. And again, as I mentioned, just by staying to the end, I want to make sure you get this consult. You can get all this at creditsuite.com/consult. If you go to creditsuite.com/consult and schedule a consultation with our team, if you will get the credit monitoring, you'll get the no-cost consultation, and the playback of the event will get sent to you if you are on Zoom. And if you are not, and you are attending on another platform like Facebook, YouTube, it'll be available on that platform as well. So I'm going to answer some questions. I literally have less than 8 minutes. I have to jump onto a podcast interview at exactly 2 o'clock, but hopefully you got a lot of value from today. And again, I answered a lot of your questions that we've gotten over the last few weeks about what it's like to actually work with us. So let me answer some of these questions. Flynn says, most of these accounts don't report. I called Granger yesterday and they don't report. They do. They report Granger, but you describe a common problem that everybody has. You call and talk to a front end rep that doesn't know that or not. And you really need to be speaking to an underwriter. So everything in our system, we have a whole data team. And when I show you sources like all this, for example, these are non-reported accounts. So they will give you credit when you have none, but none of these credits actually do report, but they're still good credits. Backflowers, Hatch, Kylie Office Supplies, Arvis Campus, Wave, MedX, Home Depot. They'll give you credit when you have none, but they don't report the credit to the business credit reporting agencies. So we're very familiar with all the sources that will give you credit, who reports the credit, who doesn't. For example, Best Buy is a great source. They'll give you an approval based on business credit quality alone, but they don't report the credit to the reporting agencies. It's why this information is so valuable, so you know that. If you call them directly to try to figure that out, the front end reps oftentimes don't know what they're talking about. My only advice here, Flynn, is you just got to try to talk to an actual underwriter. Kay Jones says, why does it take so long to get business credit and the steps to purchase for merchant, then establishing buy power first? Well, it's because a lot of the companies that initially establish business credit that know about it are larger companies. So they're not usually using vendors to build it. They're usually getting credit with major banks that's reporting it because they're big privately or publicly owned companies. Those are the ones that usually know enough about business credit to build it. So the vendor route just takes a little bit longer, but it's faster if you've done what I've shown you. You've got to improve your fundability. Okay. And then the next thing is you have to make sure that you're using the credit you get, and that will get you faster and higher approval amounts. So there's a formula here. I like to say that working with us takes a 2.5 to 3 year process and condenses it down to only months. Okay. And that's because as you see, everything's tiered out. Here's what you do. Here's the order. Here's what you're going to run into. When you know that, it's a faster path. But you have to expect it's just going to take a little bit longer if you're doing it on your own. Roberta says, I've been at this for what seems like 10 years. Roberta, you're probably not working with us. But again, it's a little bit faster if you're working with us. It's a lot faster because you have a coach that guides you through the process. If not, you have to be patient. I always say it's time or money. If if time is more important to you, then work with us and we expedite the process. If money is more important, You need to be patient. Even though I've given you the basic steps, there's a lot of problems that are going to happen along the way that are unique to your system, your circumstance, and our advisors aren't there to help you overcome that. Steve says, what's up? And Kay Jones says, I have my DUNS number. Great job. Flynn says, Summa Office. Do you know anything about that company? Yep, Summa Office Supplies is good. I'd have to check with my data team or our system, but last time I checked, they're reporting as well. Roberto says, I have vendor accounts. I just got a secure gas card from Wex. How long should I wait before I apply for store credit cards? You need to have 5 accounts, 5 payment experiences on your business credit reports. Then you can start to apply. But Home Depot is usually going to require closer to 10 accounts. And that's one of the ones you're asking about. And I did provide those vendors, Uline Quill, K. Jones. Was it easy to get the, okay, and you're asking about that. And Percy says, why Synchrony Bank approved me for a $4,000 gas card revolving credit? When I apply for the Sam's Card, MasterCard, they can't verify my business name. So Percy, you have an issue with fundability. And I love what Percy said. I got approved for a $4,000 gas card here, and I got denied here. Why? Well, everything I show you about fundability, some sources will ignore some of it. Some sources won't. So like if your business is a home address, some sources like Amazon will approve you. Walmart won't. That's what you're running into here. Some sources won't approve you because all of your fundability isn't right. If you improve your fundability, all these sources will approve you and you're not going to have these problems. But if you have fundability issues, then that's what causes the problem. What you're describing is the #1 problem that we see. They can't verify your business name because probably there's an incongruency between what's with your Secretary of State and what you put on their application, just so you know that. And Flynn's talking about that. Okay, I think trying to get everybody done here, or make sure I can get to everybody's questions here before I wrap up. It was fairly easy. Okay, it's been continued to be tremendous resources of fundability. Kudos for your timeless effort. I appreciate that. Ed says his business credit approval has gone down. We have not seen corporate credit go down. Without a personal guarantee, no. With a personal guarantee, like the credit line hybrid, we've seen those approvals decline. You have to call to an underwriter to get approved, or you're just not getting those accounts approved right now, which is what we found. What about PayNet and SBFE for equipment loans and vehicle leases? Yeah, a lot of stuff reports to them as well. And we work with a lot of sources that do report to them. Going through the setup right now, you guys are really helpful and do a great job. I appreciate that very much. Dane says, oh, I get it. The hybrid for 2 companies, same time with just me as a PG. Yes, you can definitely do that. Dane says, can I get before switching from the UPS store to virtual? You should switch, yes, because UPS store is going to get you a lot of denials. And Willie says, the hybrid works and quick. I got 50,000, 3 cards so far. Thanks. Oh, Willie, congratulations. So Willie got 50 grand from Credit Line Hybrid through 3 cards so far and still going. Okay, and yeah, PayNet and SBFE, those are also credit bureaus. I talked about the Small Business Financial Exchange earlier, but they actually get their information, or the vendors for the business credit reporting agencies are vendors for them. So that's where a lot of their information shows up on those reports. And why did you not get 150,000? I'll tell you, Sean, the reason somebody gets 50 versus 150 has to do with the highest limit account that they have now. You'll typically with Credit Line Hybrid get 5 to 8 times the amount of your highest credit limit. So if the highest credit limit account you have is $30,000, you have an individual credit card with a $30,000 limit, you're going to get upwards approvals of 100, 150. If the highest limit you have is 10,000, you usually get 5 to 8 times that, which is why you'd see a lower approval for that, just so you know. And when applying for retail cards, are we providing our business information? Yes. They might ask for your social for verification of identity, but nothing else. And Dane says, no, I'm asking if I would be able to get the hybrid before I switch. Yeah, you could. You call us on that. You don't need to switch before you get the hybrid. And then on the webinar, what vendors report, we talked about that. I applied to Arco Fleet. They approved me for 500 secured. Does that still report down in Bradstreet? Yes, from what I know, it does. And they're asking you for a $500 deposit and a PG because you don't have enough accounts reporting first. If you'd follow the steps I outlined and have 8 accounts before you applied, you would not have been asked for the deposit and not been asked for the personal guarantee. I just want to point that out. Can you show the slide again with your cost of the program? It's $29.97 is our enrollment, and you're getting all those bonuses with it today as well. So it's $29.97. These are the bonuses that you get. And by the way, again, if you can't afford the payments that we have, which is $597 a month, then we will work with you on customized payments. And Will says, last webinar you said not to get business phone number from Google. Where do you recommend? Google, for some reason, and Google Voice gets people denied all the time. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, so I wouldn't stay away from Google Voice, but I would try to use, I can't go back to that slide. But anyways, whoever asked, it's $29.97 and $597 a month. And you're also getting these bonuses. Can you, last webinar, the phone number. So I would recommend Ring Central or Freedom Voice. I think those are very good ones. Will we have access to upgrade to an affiliate down the line? Absolutely. You can go to creditsuite.com/affiliate for free, become an affiliate, refer people to us, and get paid. Or we also have a partner program where you can make, everybody's different, right? But an average of $2,000 in profit per sale that you make. So an option there as well. And Angie says, can I get a credit to buy a truck for delivery service? You can, but we also have commercial vehicle financing. So give us a call because we have financing specifically for the purpose of commercial vehicles. How soon after receiving an EIN can I apply for credit? You can apply immediately for credit after you get the EIN. And says, I'm fairly new to all this. If your personal credit score is wrecked, yes, this works no matter how bad your personal credit is. I notice a credit line requires your social. Yes, but only to verify your identity. You can tell them not to pull personal credit and they won't. What's the expected cost? We talked about that. I noticed that too, that David, I try to apply under my email. Okay, how can I get help with no business set up yet? You need to set up your business initially, but our system will walk you through the steps of setting up your business the right way. I already have an EIN. How can I get finished for finance from you? Again, loans and credit lines come down to cash flow credit or collateral. You're going to need one of those to get money. And when it comes to getting business credit, anybody can qualify. If some people are asking about specific amounts of money you want to pay per month, just give us a call. Our team will talk to you about your needs, and then we'll give you different options that might be able to work for you individually. Okay. And from Willie says, thank you for all the information. I think this company is really great. I would very much like to become a partner. We definitely have that. We can definitely help you with that as well. And I found out a rabbit hole in 2020. I get it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I know a lot of you might still have some questions, but I'm late for a podcast interview I have to get to, so I'm going to go. But I'm not leaving you hanging here. Just give us a call, 877-600-2487, 877-600-2487, and we will be able to talk to you more and be able to help you. Even if you just want a consultation to get advice with doing it on your own, we'll do that. Okay, if you look at our reviews, you'll see people rave about this consult call, whether you're buying something from us or not. But if you want the faster, easier path, then we'll talk to you about that as well. And if our payments or one pay isn't affordable, then we'll talk to you and make it even affordable. We won't let that be a barrier. So just give us a call, talk to us more. But I'm going to wrap up because I have a lot more questions coming in, but I've got to get to this podcast interview, but I don't want to leave you hanging again. We definitely will help you. Just give us a ring, 877-600-2487. Remember, through this Friday, you're getting $7K worth of extra bonuses. This branding course is unbelievably awesome as well. So make sure you get in touch. We're even giving you $750 worth of credit reports for free that you'd pay directly with the bureau. So give us a call if you're interested in getting started, or if you just want a consultation to talk more about building your business credit. We'd love to talk to you more. 877-600-2487, 877-600-2487. Thanks, everybody.